Hello, this is Mrs. Longoria here with a quick tutorial how to do two-point perspective. We are going to draw today 3 buildings in a row going down a road using two-point perspective. So the first thing that we want to do is to create our horizon line. Now if you think about looking off into a field, a horizon is that line that goes across your vision where the ground meets the sky. All right, and if you notice things get smaller as they go away from you in space, the horizon line is where things get so tiny you can't see them anymore. Okay, so we are going to need a straight edge for this drawing. So I'm going to take a piece of paper and I'm just going to fold it in half to create my straight edge. You can use a ruler if you have one, but if you don't, a folded piece of paper works great. I like to fold mine twice to give it a little bit of thickness. Crease that good there. All right, I'm ready to go. So first I've got my paper long ways, and I'm going to draw a horizontal line just below the middle of my paper. Now horizontal means that my line goes side to side. So it's flat and straight and side to side. Now I draw with my straight edge. I didn't do a very good job there. With my straight edge, I want to keep my pencil pushed up against the paper as I draw my line. That way I get a nice smooth straight line. So let me fix that little part right there. All right, perfect. So here's my horizon line. Now at this point, this is ground and this is sky. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create 2 points on my line. Over here on the left, a little point there, and over here on my right, a little point over here. These are my vanishing points. These are the points on the horizon that my building is going to get so tiny you can't see it anymore. All right, so those are my vanishing points. Now between my vanishing points, I like to work off center a little bit. I'm going to draw a vertical, that's straight up and down, a vertical line using my straight edge that crosses my horizon line. All right, see how it crosses my horizon line? And notice there's space at the top and space at the bottom. All right, this is the front corner of my building. This is the closest part of my building to me. Everything else about my building is going to be going away in space, and so it's going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. With that in mind, let's go ahead and make the right wall of my building. We're going to connect the bottom of the corner with the right vanishing point. All right, so to connect with the ruler, you want to line the ruler up with one point, line the ruler up with the other point, hold it tight with your not drawing hand, and then draw that line. Okay? All right, so that's the bottom of my right wall. Now we're going to draw the top of my right wall. Again, we're connecting the top of my corner with my vanishing point. Draw that line. Great. That's the right wall of my building. Right now it goes on into infinity and gets smaller and smaller and smaller until you can't see it anymore. So let's draw the left side of the building same way, connecting the bottom of the corner to the left vanishing point and the top of the corner to the left vanishing point. All right. Now at this stage, a lot of my students say, oh, we drew a kite. Yeah, it's kind of a kite shape, but if you start thinking in 3D, you can see a corner here and then 2 walls going off into the distance. So let's give our building an end. If I line up my straight edge with that middle corner and I scooch it over to the right, I can decide how wide my building's going to be by looking at this space here. So this is very long, this is very short, so let's kind of make it a medium width here. And remember, we're drawing 3 buildings. So here's one building, and then a gap between our building, and then there's the end of the second building, and then a gap. Again, these are all vertical lines, straight up and down. And then our third building. Now you'll notice my buildings get smaller and narrower as they go into the distance. This is because as things go away from you, they get smaller and closer together, or they appear to be smaller and closer together. Now let's go ahead and draw the left side of my first building. So I'm going to line my ruler up here. I'm going to scooch it to the left. And then there's the back of the building. All right, so then we're going to do some quick erasing. Anything we don't need outside of our buildings, we're going to get away from. So these parts of our vanishing point lines are going to be erased because those aren't actually part of our buildings. Those are just reference lines at this point. And over here, these are also reference lines, so these can go away. All right. The horizon line behind our buildings we're going to get rid of because our buildings are not see-through, they're solid. So we're going to get rid of the horizon line. All right, fantastic. There we go. All right, so you can kind of start to see the buildings take shape, but you'll notice our second and third buildings don't have a left side yet. So we're going to take, oops, that's my ruler. My ruler doesn't fit. Let's take our straight edge and line it up from the left vanishing point to the corner of our first building. So we're going to line up the vanishing point with the bottom corner of the building, the second building, and draw a line. But we're going to stop when we reach that first building because our buildings are not see-through, right? Our building will only go as far as the next building. So let's go ahead and do that with the top corner as well. Okay, and then the third building from the top corner to the vanishing point and from the bottom corner to the vanishing point. All right, now I can get rid of these little bits of line here that I don't need anymore. I lined up the fronts of the buildings because now I've got three separate. So that's pretty cool, right? If you want to add windows or doors to your building, if you're working on the right side of your building, anything that goes side to side is going to line up with the vanishing point. Anything that goes up and down is going to stay vertical. So for example, if I'm going to add a door, the top of my door goes side to side on my buildings. So I'm going to line up my vanishing point and decide how tall I want my doors to be. And I'm going to go ahead and draw the tops of my doors. And I'll draw a light line, reference line, so you can see how it lines up with the vanishing point. Then I am going to draw the sides of my doors straight up and down. So 1, 2. One trick for drawing good vertical lines is that you can compare your straight edge with the corners of your buildings, but you can also compare it to the edge of your paper and it should all be parallel. All right, parallel, side by side, never intersecting. All right, so there are some doors. Now my doors are very plain. You might want to fancy up your doors a little bit if you so choose. And windows, the same thing. We're going to, if they are on the right facing side, we are going to make the bottoms to the vanishing point and the tops to the vanishing point. And then we are going to make our sides straight up and down. So there we go. There's one window. The windows are pretty big. 2 windows. All right, and 3 windows. Kind of lining them up with my door here. Great. Then I can get rid of my reference lines if I wish. Now, if I did anything on the left side of the building, then that would connect with the left vanishing point. All right? Now, another cool thing I can do to make my drawing look even more three-dimensional is if I decide where my light source is going to be. Let's say the sun is in the sky. It's over here. Here's my sun. Anything facing towards the sun is going to be a lighter value, and value is how light or how dark something is. So I'm going to leave those faces of the building alone, but anything facing away from the sun is going to be darker. And I can shade that in. I'm going to shade it quickly and a little sloppily because I want to move quickly in this demo. But you can shade the sides of your building in to make it look more three-dimensional. All right, now you can also cast a shadow coming from your building. So if the sun is hitting from there, our shadow is going to be going that way. Now the cool thing about shadows is, just like our buildings, they're going to obey the law of the vanishing point. So we're going to line up our vanishing point, and we're going to extend the line from each bottom corner of our buildings. And this is where our shadow goes. So I might make it kind of soft, maybe darkening as it gets closer to the building by putting in some layers of shading. There we go. All right, and of course I can shade in between my buildings as well. Fantastic. All right, now the last thing we're going to add is a road. So from our vanishing point, again, we're going to line up our ruler and draw a line kind of coming in front of our buildings. And then again from the vanishing point, whoops. And again from our vanishing point, we're going to draw another line. And you can see now we have a road that starts out tiny. You can't see it, it's way in the distance. It gets bigger and bigger as it comes towards you. And I can also add some stripes to the road. But remember, like I explained earlier, as they go into the distance, your stripes are going to get smaller, they're going to get closer together until you can barely see them at all. All right, fantastic. So we have 3 basic buildings and a road, and from here you can get fancy. You can add decorations to your buildings, architecture, landscaping, trees, whatever you're in the mind to add. Thank you very much for joining me in my demo. Happy 2-point perspectiving.